Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, today's English lesson will be a lesson in standard 7th English. And the name of the lesson is lesson number 3.6 from your English textbook. And the name of the lesson is Think Before You Speak. Now, if you have your English textbooks with you in front of you, please open it and come to page number 75. Now, whenever we start doing a lesson in this video format, children, always when you come to know which is the lesson, immediately open your textbook and go to that particular page so that you can be referring to what I am teaching constantly. All right. So, as you can understand, this is about a way you're supposed to behave. That is, whenever you speak, you're supposed to think and not think once, but you're supposed to think twice. Why? Because the spoken word cannot be taken back. So if you say something about someone, if you say something bad about someone, then you cannot take the words back when you are no longer angry with that person. So when you read this lesson properly and when you understand this lesson properly, you will understand that thinking before you speak is a very good virtue. That is, it is one of the very good qualities in a person. If you think before you speak, you will never spoil relations with people. Most of the time, sometimes when we say something bad, when we say something rudely to someone, the relationship breaks. Okay? For example, if you scold your friend in front of people, your friend will feel bad and will stop talking to you. So in that way, remember that you're always supposed to think before you speak. Now there are various instances, there are various sayings of important people that we are going to see in this lesson. And after we see what the content of the lesson is, we will also try and see a few grammar exercises from this lesson. So come on, let us start understanding what and why you should think before you speak. So you have to think always. Think means you have to introspect, you have to reflect, you have to always take a pause, okay, before you open your mouth and you start saying something. Now children, there was this person called as Benjamin Disraeli who said a very important thing. Now he was a very great British statesman. All right, he said that nature has endowed man with 2 ears and one mouth. If man was meant to talk more and listen less, he would have two mouths and only one ear. So can you imagine? And have you thought about this before? See, we have only one mouth which we use to speak. We have 2 ears which we use to listen. All right. So now God has given us, or nature has given us, 2 ears because we are supposed to listen more, and just one mouth because we are supposed to speak less. If nature had wanted us to do the opposite, that is, nature had wanted us to speak more and listen less, then nature would have given us two mouths and just one ear. All right. So now can you imagine how we would have looked like that? Very strange, isn't it? With two mouths and one ear. So why do we have 2 ears and only one mouth? Because God wants us, or nature wants us, or we are made in such a way so that we listen twice as much as we speak. Sometimes we do not listen to people, or sometimes we listen with an intention of not understanding what they are saying, but we want to reply back. We always want to prove that I am better than you. So we listen in order to reply. We do not listen in order to understand. So all these are bad habits which you should slowly and slowly start shedding. Okay, and you should start imbibing habits which are good for you. So once again, we have 2 ears and just one mouth. That means we are supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. So many of our problems will come to an end if you speak less than you hear. Listen. And when you hear something, do not react immediately. Do not answer immediately. Wait for some time. Okay? So many problems in your life will be solved. So now you are still children. So if you start learning this from now only, then it will help you when you grow up and you become adults. All right. So this is the most important thing that this lesson wants to teach us. We are supposed to think before we speak. Let us see some more interesting things in the lesson. So now they're saying that our ears, they are like funnels and they're open all the time. So you can see your ear, touch your ear and see your ear is actually like a funnel and there is no flap on your ear. Isn't it? You can close your eyes, you can close your mouth, but you cannot close your ears. So there is no door on your ear which opens or shuts, or you can open it or you can shut it. So your ears are like funnels. All right. And that is whenever we have to speak something, we have to open and shut our lips. But listening is always available. So our ears are always giving us some knowledge or the other. So if you have to speak even one single word, then that single word also must pass through two walls. Okay? Or you can say it must pass through two fences. You know what are fences? Fences are a kind of protective boundary which is built around someone's house or someone's field. So the fence actually tries to protect the place. In the same way, we have two fences which protect our words also. So whatever we say, it is protected by two fences. Now, which is the first fence? The two rows of teeth that you have inside your mouth. Okay, so to speak, you have to open your mouth, the teeth, the rows of teeth separate first, and then the second fence, that is your lips, separate. So see, there is so much of effort which goes into speaking. So speak less, and there is no effort at all which goes into listening. So listen more. Very simple, isn't it? So the idea that the lesson is trying to convey is very, very simple. It is saying that you should speak less, listen more. All right. Now, sometimes it is said that you are the master of your unspoken words, but a slave to the words that you have spoken. So there are many wise people who have said things like this. Now, this is a quote from Winston Churchill. So what is the meaning of this? If you have said something, if some words have escaped the fences in your mouth, then it is out in the open. Okay? And you cannot take it back. So you become a slave to those words. Those words become your liability, they become your responsibility. But suppose if you have not spoken any words, it is in your control. And something which is in your control means you are the master. So whenever you do not speak anything, whenever you don't say anything, you are the master of those words. But the moment you open your mouth and say things, then you become a slave to those particular words. Okay? That means once the word has left your lips, it cannot come back. So what are unspoken words? Unspoken means words means what? Unspoken words means words which you wanted to say, but you did not say them. You held them back. That is, there were some thoughts which came into your mind and you wanted to say those things, but then somehow you stopped yourself and you controlled yourself. So self-control is again a very important thing. Instead of someone else controlling you, you should always try to control yourself. Okay, so these are the important things that this lesson is teaching us. Let us see an important and very, you can say, interesting story also regarding the unspoken word. So they said, do not get angry. Try not to speak roughly or use harsh words. So one very important mantra in life is, children, when you are angry, shut your mouth. Okay, whether you're at home, whether you're in class, whether you're playing on the ground with your friends, okay, wherever. When you are very angry, you should keep your mouth shut, because sometimes when we are angry, our mind loses control of itself. We do not realize that we are saying wrong things, because our vision or our thinking is clouded because of this anger. So the very first thing, if you do not want to get into trouble with your words, is you should not get angry. And even if you get angry, you should try not to speak rough or harsh words. So that is one. And the second one is, you should take care of your words. Okay? Whatever you say, you should take very good care of those words, because once you speak the words, it cannot be taken back. And when you say something harsh, when you say something very rudely to someone, someone's heart can break. Heart can break means that person will become very, very sad. Okay? That person will be heartbroken, and that heart cannot be mended again. That is, you cannot, if you insult someone in front of 10 people, okay, if you say something bad about someone in front of so many people, you cannot go and mend that. All right, you cannot go and correct that. So what should you try to do? What should your efforts always be? That you do not get angry, and when you are angry also, you should not speak unkind words. Otherwise, what will happen? You will be breaking many relationships, you will be breaking many friendships, and then you will be left alone, without any friend, without any relative. Okay, now, see, this is one more very important saying about speech. Okay, the tongue has no bones. See, we use the tongue along with the lips and the teeth in order to produce sound and speak. But it is the tongue majorly which produces sound. As if you look at language, if you look at science, then there are so many different things that you can learn. That is, your vocal cords, and your vocal cords vibrate because of the sound, and all those things you will learn in science. But if you look at it from a language point of view, or if you look at it from a poet's point of view or a writer's point of view, then the tongue has got no bones in it. But the tongue is strong enough to break a heart. So you need something which is very strong, isn't it, to break something? In case you want to break something, what do you pick up? You pick up a hammer, or you pick up an axe, which is very strong. But the tongue has got no bones. Even then, it is strong enough to break a heart. So you should be very careful with your tongue, in the sense you should be very careful with your words and with your speech. So that is what this lesson wants to tell us. Okay, so see, again and again we are coming back to the same point. That is, you should always think before you speak, and do not speak harshly to anyone. Now let us see a small story where a young man, he went to a spiritual teacher. Now a spiritual teacher can be a guru, he could be a priest, he could be a Maulvi. Okay, he went to a spiritual teacher and he said, I have spoken very harsh and unkind words to my friend, and he is deeply hurt. I'm afraid I've lost my friendship with him. How can I make amends? Amends here means changes. So sometimes it also happens that you say something, you do something, and then you regret it later. You realize, maybe you're very angry and you say something, you do something, later you realize that it was wrong. So in the same way, this young man also, he said something very harsh to his friend. And later he realized that his friend is very hurt and he's no longer going to be his friend. He won't talk to him at all. So to seek some kind of solace, to seek some kind of peace, he went to the spiritual teacher or the spiritual guru, and he asked him this question. Now the wise teacher, he asked him to do a particular task for him. And what was the task? He gave this boy a pen and a blank paper. Okay, so what do you do with a pen and a blank paper? You write on it, of course. So he asked the young man to write something on this piece of paper. Okay, he said, now whatever you have said to him, whatever harsh words that you have said to him, please write all that down on this piece of paper. Now the young man, he wrote and he showed it to his teacher. He said, see, these are all the words that I said to him. And he showed it to his teacher. Now the teacher said, now the next step here will be to tear this paper into as many small bits as you can. He said, now do one thing, pick up this paper and tear it into small bits. So the boy did as he was asked to. He tore the sheet up into a tiny 100 bits. He said, now do one thing, throw these bits out of the window. So this boy was surprised. All right. He said, why is the teacher asking me to do this? Anyways, as instructed by the teacher, he threw all the bits of paper outside his window. And then you know what the teacher told him? This was not the end of the task. The teacher said, now go out into the street and collect as many bits of paper as you can. So that was the next, you can say, task that the guru gave him or the teacher gave him. He said, now you do one thing, you go out into the street and you collect as many bits of paper as you can. Not any bit of paper, but the bits of paper which you have just torn and thrown out of the window. The student or the boy, he was amazed and he was taken aback. He started saying, but that will be very difficult. How can I do it, teacher? It will be very difficult. He said, I know it is difficult, but at least you try. And he tried. But do you think he was able to collect and bring back all the bits and pieces of paper? He said, no, I was not able to do it. I was not able to collect even half of the bits that I have thrown out into the road. That is when the teacher told him, see, this is what happens with the spoken word. Once you have spoken the words aloud, it is very difficult to take them back. Therefore, learn to think before you speak in anger. Alright, so this is the wonderful story also that the textbook has given us in order to understand how important it is for us to think before we speak. Now there is a small instance and of this very famous person called Socrates. Now Socrates was one of the wisest man of the ancient world. He also had a lot of, you can say, people or students who were inspired by his words. So there were many young people whose life he has influenced and he has made their life better. Now Socrates used to always counsel his disciples. Okay, counsel in the sense he used to always keep on giving advices to his disciples. Now once his disciples asked him, O wise one, how may we know when it is the right time to speak? He said, how should we know that yes, this is the right time for me to say something? So when should we know? How will I know as a person when it is the right time for me to speak? Now you know the wonderful answer which Socrates gave to his students? He said, open your mouths to speak only after you have asked yourself 3 questions and you have received an affirmative answer to each of the 3. He said, before saying anything, ask yourself 3 questions. And when all the answers, that is the answers to all the 3 questions, are affirmative. Affirmative means when all the answers are yes, all the 3 answers are yes, only then you should open your mouth. So now what are the 3 questions? The first question is it true? So whatever we are trying to say now, or whatever you want to say, is it true? So this is the first question you should ask yourself before you speak. If you are not sure about the veracity, now this word is used in the textbook, veracity means about the truth or about how valid that thing is, it is better that we do not utter a word. So when you're in doubt about something, okay, it is better to keep your mouth shut. When we utter words carelessly, we ourselves become transmitters of untruth. So what do? In a way, you are the person who's spreading lies. So even though you have not been, you can say you are not the person who produced that lie, but at least you are helping to spread that lie. You are transmitters of lie. The second question, he said, is you should ask whether it is pleasant. So sometimes there are some remarks and some statements which people make in order to hurt others. So there is no need for you to say that. When you say something and someone in the group or someone who is with you will get hurt, and we know that sometimes some words that we say are bound to hurt someone. In those cases also, it is better if you keep quiet and those particular words of yours remain unspoken. The third and the last question is it useful? So, whenever we say something, is it going to be of any benefit to the person who's listening to it? Will our words bring comfort and solace to someone? Will our words make someone feel better, make someone feel nice? Are we going to help someone with what we are saying? Okay, only if you can answer yes to all these questions. That is it going to benefit the listener? And is it going to comfort the listener? Is it going to help the listener? Only then you should make a decision and open your mouth and say something. So, these are the three questions and very, very important advice which was given by Socrates, who was one of the wisest men of the ancient world. Okay, and this is how, by saying such good things, by saying such useful things, he used to mold the life of his, you can say, learners or the people who went to him for advice or the young people. Okay, so this, children, is about the lesson, that is the content of the lesson. Now, like I told you, we have certain exercises in vocabulary, we have certain exercises in grammar also that we are going to see now. So let us start and look at some exercises from our lesson. So exercise 1. The same word can be used as a noun in some sentences and as a verb in others. Okay. Now there are some words which can be used as noun also, and sometimes when the use changes in another situation, it becomes a verb. So there are many examples like this around us. So let us look at some examples from the textbook. So many are the empty remarks. So remarks means sentences. Okay. So here remarks means a noun. Alright. Then a wise man once remarked. Now here you will see remarked is used to replace the word said or uttered. So a wise man once said. So when said is written as remarked, that means it is a verb. Okay. So here on the screen you can see two words, one as a noun, one as a verb. Now there are many questions which are asked in the textbook. That is, you have to make sentences of your own with some words that they have given you. So the first word is change. So let us see how change can be used as a noun and as a verb. So I do not have any loose change. So here change means chutta, chiller, coins. Okay, hence it is a noun. I do not have any loose change. Here it is a noun. Whereas if you say you should change your clothes immediately, so there changing your clothes is a kind of an action that you're doing. So it is a verb. So you see how the word change is used as a noun and as a verb. Now let us take a few more words and then after that you will have to do the remaining yourself. So show. So see, we have booked tickets for the evening show. Now here the show means what? A performance. It could be a dance show, it could be a music show, it could be a show for a circus also. So here the word show is a noun. Now look at the next sentence that I will use here. Please show the ticket at the entrance. So when you show the ticket to someone, that means that particular word there, show, is acting like a verb, or it is taking the place of the verb. That is why the first show is noun, and the second show is a verb. Alright. So now there are a few more words, that is a throw, return, benefit, which you're supposed to try and make sentences on your own. Use them as a noun also and as a verb also. Alright. So now we will move on and we will go to the next exercise. In that also we will do just a few and the remaining will be homework or assignment for you people. Complete the following. Our ears are like funnels because they can be open all the time and we can listen to as many things as possible. That is why our ears are like funnels. Next, the two rows of teeth are like a fence because we must think at least twice before we utter a word. Okay. Now, when will you be able to find these answers? You will be able to find these answers if you read the textbook very carefully. So, come on, go back and read the textbook very, very carefully and find out answers to the other two sentences which are there. The two lips are like a fence because harsh words are like scattered bits of paper carried away by the wind because. Okay, so this is for you to do. Then you have the next, you can say, exercise where they have asked you to write a brief summary of the story. Now children, have already summarized the story and shown you the story along with the pictures. So now come on, try to put it in your own words and try to write the summary of the story of the young man and his spiritual teacher. Okay, so this you will write it in your own words. So read the textbook once again, look at my video once again, rewind it, and then you understand the gist of the story. If you understand the summary of the story or what is the main thing that the story wants to tell you, very easily you will be able to write it also. Now we go to the language study part, that is we try and see what are adverbials. Okay, so adverbs and adverbials are really two close concepts, but there is a little bit of a change or a difference that we will see. So adverbials can be defined as, what are adverbials? They are basically simple one word adverbs or adverbs presented in the form of a phrase or a clause. Okay, so they are one word adverbs, or they can be adverbs which are presented in the form of a phrase or a clause. Now, adverbials, what work they do? They explain the meaning of the verbs in a sentence. So, they go on to explain the meaning of a verb in the sentence. Okay. Now, let us see what the difference between adverb and adverbial is. So, if you understood what adverbs are, you will definitely understand what adverbial is. So, adverb is what? It is a word that modifies the verb. It is a word which simply changes or it gives more meaning to the verb. Many, but not all adverbs end in ly. Okay, there are many adverbs which end with ly. She wrote neatly. So see, she wrote is the verb. How did she write? Neatly. Okay, they explain manner, frequency, place, or time. We have learned about adverbs quite a number of times, so we all know what the meaning of adverb is. So what do adverbs do? They explain the manner, they explain the frequency, they explain the place or the time related to the verb. For example, see, well is an adverb, carefully is an adverb, suddenly, always, hardly ever, never, backwards, forwards, now, tomorrow, today, then, all these are adverbs. And we know very well about them because we have learnt adverbs in detail in the past. Now, what are adverbials? Adverbials are any structure that describes a verb. So, adverbials, what do? They describe a verb. Adverbs modify a verb. So now what are adverbs used for? They are used to give more information about the verb. They are used to modify or describe the verb also, just like adverbs do. Adverbials answer the questions when, how, why, where, etc. They can be placed in different locations, and adverbs can also act as adverbials. Okay, so I told you it is very, very, very close. But remember, adverbs are usually one word and adverbials can be more than one word. It could be a structure, it could be a clause, it could be a phrase. Okay, let us look at some examples. See, with a smiling face, he accepted the award. So he accepted the award. Accepting here is the verb. How did he accept it? He accepted it with a smiling face. So it tells us how. So see, it is a phrase. The adverb is in the form of a phrase, a group of words. Okay, that's an adverbial. Milo liked to sleep on his master's bed. So suppose I say Milo slept well. So the well there is the adverb. We are talking about something more about the verb here. Milo liked to sleep. Where did he like to sleep? On his master's bed. So on his master's bed is the adverbial phrase which tells us where. Okay, and tells us where about Milo's liking for sleep. Let us look at one more example. For 8 years, Kendra waited for a rescue ship. So Kendra waited for a rescue ship. For how many years? For 8 long years. So it tells us how long. Okay, and finally we have he would not do a bungee jump because of the danger. You know what is a bungee jump? They tie a kind of elastic rope to your leg and they push you off the cliff and you come bouncing back. So he would not do a bungee jump. Why? Because of the danger. So this adverbial phrase tells us why he would not do a bungee jump. So these are all examples of adverbials. Okay, let us look at a few more examples of adverbials and then you can look at the examples which are given in the textbook also on page number 78. So see, before sunrise, he ate his breakfast. So he ate his breakfast at what time? Before sunrise. All night long, she danced. So she danced all night long. In June, the event will happen. So the event will happen when? In June. Under the clock, he stood and waited. So he stood and waited where? Under the clock. By the train station, we met. So we met where? By the train station. Okay, so these are all examples of adverbial. And now the difference must have become clear to you. Adverbs are usually single words, whereas adverbials are in the form of a phrase or a clause or a group of words. Okay, now you will always see these kind of phrases being used as adverbials. After a while, as quick as, so you will see this coming before an adverbial. As soon as he, she could, all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, before long, without warning. So all these words you will see them along with in a sentence where there are adverbials. Okay, children. So this was our lesson for today where we talked about how important it is for us to speak only after thinking a number of times. And we also saw that nature itself has made us or engineered our bodies in such a way that we should listen more than we speak. So always listen to what people are saying, only then open your mouth and speak. Okay, so this is what we have learned in this lesson, and then we also did a few exercises on finding out how certain words act as verbs also and how they act as nouns also, and then we looked at this important grammar point based on adverbials. Okay, so that was all, children, in this particular lesson for today. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learned a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.